So, for those of you who don't know, for our stewardship time, we've been having special little interviews, but we are going through these because of our stewardship campaign this year. It is entitled, Because of You, Our Church Changes Lives. And what better way to recognize how our church changes lives by hearing from people within our church family? I think it is on.
I am on.
Yes.
I am turned on.
Yes, you're turned on. So I've invited Mary to come forth for our third testimony today. Why don't you introduce yourself and your relationship with the church and what you do here?
Mary Roberts. We moved here from Indiana in '94, and I'm the choir director. Have been, I think, for going on about 18 years now.
Yeah.
When we first started coming to this church, we were meeting in the fellowship hall. And Paul Mance was the director. Ellen was the pianist. I cannot think of her last name. But anyway, I asked if you had to be a member of the church to join the choir, and they said, oh no, just come. And that's the way it is here now. If you want to sing, whether you can read music, if you can harmonize, come join us. The more the merrier.
Yeah. You know, it's super funny you bring that up because the district superintendent recently told me, he said that singing, if you're singing on key and right, it can be for you. But if you're singing off key and just not right, it doesn't matter. It's all for God anyway.
Yes. I don't care whether you can read music or not. So, we've had some that really couldn't read music, but they could harmonize. They sit beside one that's a little bit stronger than them, and they soon learn to follow. We just, I love the choir. When I was asked to lead the choir, I said, I don't have any experience in choir directing, and I would rather sing if you can get somebody else. I got home that Sunday and got a phone call, and it was Norma Hibner at the time, and she said, Mary, the choir had a meeting and they decided that you're going to be the new choir director. I said, yeah.
Not
I
at
said,
all.
well, okay, but you got to realize what you see is what you're going to get, too. Well, I've had some wonderful pianists that helped. I feel that I have come a long way in directing. I love my choir. They have been a real blessing. Have helped me through many things, have stuck with me through all the health problems that I've been through. I know there will come a time when I'll have to give it up. I'm not looking forward to that. And maybe I should be thinking about it now. But every time I mention it, the choir says, no, which makes me so happy.
So my next question for you, because we're going to go back to your experience with the choir, music, and worship. My next question for you is, being here for so long and being a part of this community, the church being the people of Prescott Valley United Methodist Church, how would you describe our church to someone who doesn't know about PVUMC?
I have always said we are a very open, a very caring, loving church. The church that Frank grew up in and that I went to after we were going together and married, a little country church, everybody in there knew each other or was related to each other. Frank and I were about the only ones that were not related to anybody. It was a very friendly church, but it was, I'm sorry to say, it was not a loving church like this is. Everybody is so welcoming. If there's a stranger that comes in, they grab a hold of them and take them over to coffee fellowship, and it's just so welcoming, so open arms, and so loving and caring about everybody. And that has been a wonderful help for Frank and I.
There's definitely a common thread with all three testimonies we've had so far. Caring, loving.
And we're a busy church. Look at all the things that were on the calendar. Some of them were the town events, but for the most part, there seems to be a lot going on in this church. Different groups here, there, and everywhere. And we're an active church. We may be small now, smaller than we used to be, but at least we're hanging in there and carrying on God's work in the church, work of the church.
Yes, praise be to God, Mary. So let's go back to your experience with the choir. So something that I've done for this period of time for interviews is to think of a question that I feel really kind of touches home for the people I'm talking to, based off of conversations I've had with them. And as you just heard, Mary has been the choir director for many years. So could you describe what is so meaningful for you about music and worship, especially here?
Well, I've always liked music. I was not encouraged a lot at home with music. We just didn't have it a lot in our home. But I always sang in church, in choirs at school. And then as I got older, I think it was probably when I was maybe a junior or senior, I can't remember. It was too long ago. I had a little children's choir in the little church that I went to. It was a Brethren church, a one-room Brethren church, and we decorated for Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Children's Day. That was a big deal. Everybody had little sayings or readings, and I had a children's choir then. And it wasn't until we moved out here in '94, probably a year or two afterwards, that I started taking voice lessons at the college. So I was in my early 70s then, probably, and sang in some choruses there. And one of the reasons why we came to this church was because they had a choir, and I wanted to sing in the choir. And then when I became choir director, I had some wonderful pianists. Most of you remember Gloria Riley. She and I worked so well together, and every so often you'd have to say to Gloria, "Now Gloria, no rinky-dinky on this song this time." She loved to jazz them up a little bit, which was fine on a lot of them, but on some of them, no rinky-dinky.
Yeah.
Music has always meant a lot to me, and there are some of the songs that the choir has done that have been just beautiful. They're like, and I try to tell the choir, just don't say the words, think of the meaning. And some of them have been like a prayer. And I think that overall the choir has done a wonderful job. We've put out some really good, nice music.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of my choir. And it's not just the choir, it's my choir.
We're all very proud of you too, Mary.
Thank you.
For bringing the choir to where they are today. Thank you for being willing to share your experience, share how meaningful Prescott Valley UMC has been for you, but most importantly, how meaningful music and worship has been for you.
It has been very much so.
Yes. Thank you, Mary.